Oh man, guys. I have wanted to announce this exact tournament for so long. Or at least I wanted to announce this tournament format that I'm going to be announcing today. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the PYRA Championship Series. And welcome to in-person tournaments with PYRA. The PYRA Championship Series at least, specifically saying. And welcome to PCS Hotlanta, or as I'm going to call it, I'm not sure about you guys, but I'm going to call it PYRAtlanta. This is going to be the biggest tournament that PYRA has ever hosted, by far, in so many different retrospects. But the first big one is this is not only going to be our first in-person broadcasted tournament, meaning we will be live and we will also be competing in person. This is going to be our first ever 2-day tournament. We will be doing this June 17th and June 18th. We'll be prepping up June 16th, so...
Hi, Post-Production Kean here. I just wanted to make a couple of comments about the date because as you probably could tell by the fact that I have long hair in this video and I have gotten a haircut by now, this video was recorded a little bit further back than the time of this being released. And at the time of this being released, I was not aware of there being another tournament on June 17th hosted by the WSSA. I believe they're hosting a tournament in Florida. It's being hosted by Josh K. I want to make it clear, I did not know this tournament was happening, and I especially didn't know it was happening on the same day we were planning this. We had been planning this for months, and we were been planning for this date, and the second I saw this, I will admit, I got a little bit upset, but I did try, moving the date. We looked at all of our options, and it just didn't make any sense to not go with the dates that we already had. But I just wanted to make it clear, this was not an attempt to, schedule something over the WSSA or anything like that. It's just kind of how it is. I mean, you have so many tournament organizations, you have so many tournaments. These type of things happen. You'll run into 1 or 2 tournaments happening on the same day. So if you're, a Florida local and you decide to go to that tournament instead, we'll miss you at PYRAtlanta. But I wanted to clarify that this was not malicious intent or anything like that. I truly just did not know that this tournament was happening. I also think there's another tournament in Georgia happening from the WSSA the week before ours. Again, I didn't even know that this tournament was happening. I learned it this week that this tournament was happening at all. So again, these type of things happen. So the choice is yours as to what tournaments you go to and what tournaments you don't go to. I'm not going to try to persuade you. So I hope to see you at PYRAtlanta. And if I don't, no hard feelings.
Make sure you guys register right now. The link to register is in the description below. It should be cupstackingpyra.com/apply. Assuming nothing else changes, that should be the link. But yeah, we've got so much to talk about with this tournament. But I hear you all screaming at your screens right now, Kian, what's the prize pool? What's in it for me if I win? Well, look, I know we've had, a bunch of smaller prize pools and tournaments, and with this being an in-person tournament in Atlanta, Georgia, we know that people probably, aren't going to fly across the country for, a measly $300 prize pool or something. So what about a $3,000 prize pool? Do I have your attention now? With half of that $3,000 prize pool going to the stacker that wins it all, PCS Hotlanta is going to be the biggest tournament that might actually have ever happened. And it's definitely going to be the biggest tournament that PYRA has ever hosted. Not to mention, in case you missed our announcement video a couple of weeks ago, we also have brand new world records on the line that we will be competing for, and this will be the first competition that will implement blindfolded cycle and timed cycle relay as official competitive events. And as I said, registration is open now. And by the way, this is also going to be something new for us. This is going to be our first ever open tournament, meaning you can walk in on the day and register, and you can still compete. Whereas we've had, closed registrations for previous tournaments. This one is going to be completely open. There's no invitation specific, but there is one implementation of that I'll get to in just a minute. But basically how it works is we have an online registration that will be open all the way up until the day before the tournament. So you can register online, and then if you register online when you get there at the door, It's $25 for your registration fee, but you can pay it there. On top of that, if you register on the day itself, registration will be more expensive, $40, because we actually have to adjust for an extra person being there that we hadn't previously adjusted towards. But you can still register on the day and compete all the same. On top of that, this is actually going to be the first implementation of our PYRA travel funds that we are going to be implementing for the top stackers in our PYRA program and our system. So those stackers are Chen Kang Ian, William Morell, Evan Cloud, and Trey Griffith. If you just heard your name, congratulations. You're going to be receiving a small slice of the pie, but only if you actually come and compete in the tournament. Basically how it works is we have up to $500 of travel funds for our top 4 stackers in the PYRA point rankings. So that way it just, takes a little bit of that edge off if there was anything potentially holding them back from coming to this tournament. Hopefully that extra little bit of money that goes towards them helps them get them over the edge to make sure that they come and we have our top competitors competing, because that's what we want. We don't want you guys to have to take that money out of your prize pool or your winnings, We want to make sure that we can take as much of the edge off as humanly possible. Now, this is actually another big landmark for me, because this is actually going to be the first PYRA tournament that I myself am not running. So how the other PYRA tournaments have worked is because it has been mostly online broadcasts, I would just run both the broadcast and kind of be in the background making sure that, as like the tournament director, making sure everything was working. But I'm actually not going to be the tournament director this time. I'm actually handing off to none other than the Bones Man himself, Ethan Jones. He is going to be our tournament director for this, and I am going to be the broadcast director to make sure that everything in the broadcast is working perfectly. Now, the rest of the video is going to be talking about the tournament format, so if you just don't really care about the tournament format as much as you just want to get signed up and show up on the day, then you're free to go for the rest of this video. But I would advise at least watching through the entirety of this once so you get a general explanation as to what's going on, because it is important for world records and just for, qualifying for the competition in general. So here is how the general format works. This is going to be a 2-day tournament, like I previously mentioned, and day 1 and day 2 are going to be kind of different in how they work. Day 1 is going to be more so the qualifiers, so that everybody can set their times, they can do their time trials, they can set their own baseline times, and then we'll take those top stackers into a specific bracket, and the top stackers from that bracket will qualify to day 2. However, something you should know is 8 stackers have already qualified to day 2 already. These are going to be the top 8 stackers in our PYRA point rankings. So, I have mentioned 4 of them already, but I'll re-mention the list. This is Chen Kang Ian, Evan Cloud, William Morell, Trey Griffith, Kari Fula, Naoki Sakine, Will Allen, and Tyler Hollis. Those 8 stackers have received a day 2 invitation. If they don't even want to show up to day 1, they technically don't have to. Now, I can't go too into detail like I usually would for the rest of this tournament, as things are subject to change, but I will break down the general structure of at least what we're trying to do for this tournament. Let's start with day 1. Day 1 is going to start with your kind of prelims, finals combination. It's going to be our time trials format. It's 1 warm-up, 4 attempts for the 333, 363, cycle, and then optional events being blindfolded cycle and the timed events timed 363 relay and timed cycle relay. And yes, you heard me right, 1 warm-up, 4 attempts. So you get an extra attempt to set your best time for all of your stacks, and this is only including the individual stacks. This does not include 363 and cycle relay. That will still be at 3 attempts. Now, like I said, 333, 363, and cycle are the mandatory events because that's what's going to qualify you for the next events in the tournament. However, blindfolded cycle, timed 363 relay, and timed cycle relay are all completely optional. This is mainly just so, again, people can set times, set world records, all that stuff. So if you don't want to compete in those events, you don't really have to if you don't want to. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the best time from your 333, 363, and cycle, after deductions, of course, so if you have any deductions, those will be adjusted for your times. We're going to take all 3 of your best times, and we're going to combine that into an overall, and then we're going to take a specific number of stackers from their top overalls, and we're going to move them to the next stage of the competition. And then we're going to put those stackers in some form of a bracketed style format, and the top 8 stackers from that bracket will move on to day 2 to meet the other 8 stackers that pre-qualified. You're hanging with me here? Basically, day 2 should have 16 stackers competing for the rest of the tournament, and day 1 is, again, for everybody to set their times. Think of it like this. Think of it like, your Worlds or your Juniors or something like that, where you get, your round of prelims, and if you do good enough, you go to the finals the next day. Whereas this is more sort of, if you beat your opponents in the bracketed format, you move on to day 2. Now, the rest of the tournament format after time trials is going to be completely head-to-head cycle, and you guys know this format. Everybody gets one warm-up, then it's hands on timers, ready, set, go. Fastest time after deductions wins the round. And then the round variations are going to differ from each day. So, and just for each format. So all the way up until the final 8 stackers period in the entire tournament, it's going to be first stacker to win 4 rounds wins the match. Then when we get to that top 8 playoffs bracket at the very end of the tournament, it'll be first to win 5 rounds wins the match. And then all the way until the grand finals, until it's first to win 10 rounds. If you guys watched PCS Double Down, it's basically that type of format. Again, I know this format's going to be a little bit vague, but I can't make any promises until we actually have registration numbers solidified. I need to know how many stackers are actually coming and competing before I can really make any hard promises on what the format will be. But please, please, please consider coming to this tournament. I mean, this is going to be in the middle of June, so this should be just enough time before juniors, and this should be just enough time after most of y'all are getting out of school. So this should be a perfect amount of time for you guys to be able to come and compete. I want to see you guys there. We have so much invested into this tournament, both financially and just like physically and mentally speaking. We're so excited for this tournament. I am so excited for this tournament. This is going to be the biggest thing that I've ever done, and I think that with the people involved, this is probably going to be the biggest tournament that cup stacking has seen in years. And even if you aren't going to compete, even if you just want to come to watch, I highly advise you do it, because people who are just coming as guests, they get free admission, and you guys can just come in and watch. You can come in and hang out and watch the stackers compete. And you can watch the best stackers in the world go off at each other, because there has been a lot of speculation as to who the best stacker in the world is, and this is going to completely answer that question. The best stackers in the world are going to be here. They're going to be competing head-to-head against each other, and there are not going to be any more conversations as clear as this tournament will answer for you. So one more time, just so you all know, June 17th, June 18th, that's a Saturday and a Sunday, will be the tournament dates, day 1 and day 2. Register now, cupstackingpyra.com/apply. And the link will be in the description below. Register as soon as possible. Again, that really helps us out. And we might actually even do, those like those numbered sticker badges that everybody gets. So if I assume if we do that, then Peter Ford will be the first to apply. So make sure you get applied as soon as possible, especially if you want to steal that #1 spot away from Peter. But yeah, guys, that is the current structure and format for PCS Hotlanta. PYRA Atlanta is coming again, middle of June. Get ready for it. I'm so excited to see you guys there. And again, if you're one of the top 8 stackers that qualifies automatically to day 2, you'll already be, you'll be contacted. We'll be in touch. And I really hope we get all 8 of you guys there. And in the case that we don't, we'll just probably move it up to the next stacker in line in terms of the ranking. So Spencer, I believe you're 9th right now. Spencer Lath, I believe Spencer Lath is 9th right now. So we'll probably be in contact with you too soon. But yeah, that is the announcement. I hope you guys are coming to the tournament. I hope to see you there. I hope you guys, for everybody that won't be able to make it, I hope you guys are excited for the broadcast that we'll be hosting as well, because it'll probably be the most we've ever put into a broadcast ever. I'm overwhelmed with excitement. I'm so happy that this finally gets to be announced. I've been working on this for so long, and yeah, that is everything, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been another PYRA video. My name is Kean Lynch. Everybody, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, good day, good night, and keep on stacking.